everyone, welcome to another EV Ramblings video. Today I'm in the back seat of my Ford Mustang Mach-E, and I'm here to talk about a product that an EV accessory company sent me. So they reached out via email and said, hey, we want you to review this product and we're going to send it to you for no charge. But in return, we want you to do a video review, like a blog review, and we want you to talk about I guess the instruction manual as well, or the material that's included. So it was supposed to be a Tesla to J1772 adapter, but instead they sent me a portable vehicle charger. So this is really something that I don't need. I have like 3 of these already. But I think this is a good opportunity though to look at what's on the market and what's available. Because with a car like the Ford Mustang Mach-E, the brand new ones don't come with a portable charger. That's an extra accessory, and this is becoming more of a normal. So I think there's going to be a lot of people that are on the market for something like this. So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the outside of the box, we'll talk about the product, and some of the things that I like and I don't like. So this is the product itself, and it's very in your face about being level 2 portable electric vehicle charger. It talks about quick charge. Charges on the top, it says charging faster than you think. I don't know if that's really faster than I cognitively think, or just I'm surprised by how quickly it charges. But I want you to all be quite aware of the marketing going on here. So if you have the right plug for this, so that is a 240 plug 620, so on a 20 amp circuit breaker, then you can charge up to 3.84 kilowatt on this unit. So it's a 16 amp maximum charger. So if you think about that though, you really have to think about what your EV's battery capacity is. So on a first generation Nissan Leaf, where off the factory the usable battery was about 20 kilowatt hours, this is going to charge that in 4 or 5 hours. So reasonable. But if you look at a car like the one I'm sitting in right now, which has 91 kilowatt hours of usable electric capacity, this is going to take a very long time. Much faster than a level 1 charger for sure, but not nearly as fast as a more advanced level 2 charger that's maybe running 30 amp, 40 amp, even 50 amp. So just really be aware that this is still going to take a very long time to charge on a bigger battery vehicle. Now, a few other things about this unit itself. It's listed as IP66. So that is the weather rating. And sorry, there's a little bit of reflection going on here. But IP66 is essentially just dust protection. So it has 100% resistance to just dust. So in a place like a garage or something that's fully covered, this would be fine. But it doesn't really have any waterproof protection whatsoever. It could be blasted for short times, but this is not something that you would want to leave outside. Or let's say if you were traveling and you plugged somewhere outside, you wouldn't want to leave it anywhere exposed. So that is definitely a big downside, I would say. Now, a few other things that are interesting though is that this unit itself has a display. And I'm going to try to put this right up there, but it will actually show you what kind of power you're getting right now, how long you've been plugged in, your voltage, and the amp setting. So this unit via a button on it, so it says it's A, so that's amperage. You can go from 6 amp, 8 amp, 10 amp, 12 amp, 16 amp. So realistically, the 6, 8, 10, 12, you could get on 110, because a 110 outlet should have a 15 amp circuit breaker. And then the 16 amp would only be reserved for if you had the 240 volt plug. Now, I don't have that 240 volt plug. I have a hardwired level 2 charger myself, so I will only be able to charge on level 1. But I will say, I have had multiple EVs now and multiple different level 1 chargers. And the one that came with my 2011 Chevrolet Volt had the option to just on the charger itself to choose 2 different amp modes. I can't remember what they were. They were defined, but you just hit a button and it was either 2 lights showed up or 4 lights showed up. And this was really handy because when I was traveling to Airbnbs or just even motel parking lots, and you're plugging into a street lamp power outlet, I would find that the full 12 amp setting would blow fuses, or circuit breakers rather. So I if I didn't really trust or know what I was plugging into, I would choose a lower setting. And so having the ability to have so many different options on here, although like if you're on 6 amp, like it's going to take forever to charge your EV, but something is better than nothing. So I do think that is like a standout feature on this charger. So beyond the amperage as well, there's an LED status on the unit. So it goes green, blue, or red. And it either has flashing or solid. So a flashing green is charging. That's pretty standard. Most EVs themselves, if they're flashing, it means they're charging. Solid green means it's fully charged. Flashing blue just tells you that you just connected. So this would be like the handshake type thing when you first plug it in. Solid is standby. So solid blue, I can't really imagine what this would be, except for perhaps if your car had a schedule where it said, okay, don't charge until this certain time. It might be on that. And then red usually is bad. So flashing red is a ground fault. So it means that the ground you've plugged into isn't good enough. I have come across this. And then basically a solid red is a general fault. So it's just, you know, things are broke. So if you see red, usually it's pretty bad. You want to move to a new outlet right away. And I guess before we get into the box and like just go over the contents, I do want to kind of point out that they keep on mentioning like 3.84 kilowatts on the box and like 16 amp 3.84, but then they have a display showing like what's going on. And if you get a little bit closer again, it's showing that it's the full 16 amps, 240 volts, but it's peaked out at 3.0 kilowatt, which is what I would actually more expect on a 240 16 amp. So I really don't think that this unit can actually deliver the 3.84 that they call out on the side of the box under power and on the front. But once again, like this isn't going to be like blow your mind level 2 charger. This is something that you would really take with you with an emergency for level 1, I would say, in North America, or if you happen to have the 620 plug, then sure, you know, like you could use it maybe more on a regular basis. So let's get into this thing. And inside we'll find essentially just a pretty standard bag. It feels like it's a little bit padded, but it's not rigid in whatsoever. It's a soft bag. This cable, or the total length of this unit, is 25 feet, which is pretty long. But we also have the instruction manual. So you're not going to get a lot of information from this thing. Essentially, it's pretty basic. For the most part, they did a good job on the instruction manual. I will say, though, that they did duplicate like line 1 and 2. And sorry if you can't read it. They're the exact same thing. And so it kind of makes you wonder how much care they actually put into it. But for the most part, it's all really standard things like don't take it apart, don't use it if it's broken, like don't like submerge it in water. And then it's just really a product specification, so the exact same thing that you found on the side of the box. It goes over kind of the general what the unit is, so like what there's a cover, the cable, the buttons, and then it just really tells you that make sure it's not like partially plugged in, like it's plugged in all the way, and how to start charging. You just plug it in, you choose your amperage, you plug it into the car, and then you unplug from the car, and then when you're done, unplug from the wall outlet. So that's all. If you're seasoned with EVs, that's very standard stuff. So no surprises here, but I would also just, you know, credit where credit is due. It is still, with the exception of kind of those first like warnings, everything else is well written. It's easy to understand. But once again, I don't think you're gonna really use this for anything. Digging into the unit itself, let's have a look. This is my first time actually getting this out. So it's pretty heavy, and it's well wrapped. Now, okay, yeah. So this is the adapter to go to the regular 110, 15 amp breaker outlet in North America. And that is the plug that comes off of the charger itself. Let's see. So yeah, so we have that. So essentially just plug these in. Now one thing that you might want to be concerned about is how, so it's pretty stiff. You never want to hang from the cable, but there are circumstances where you might have to. I've actually been in like an underground parking lot where there's power outlets on like the ceiling, and I had to plug it in there. So just realize that if you have a lot of weight on there, that could separate and drop your charger on the ground. You don't want to do that. Now let's have a look at the charger itself, because if there's a way to hang it, that can really help take the load off. All right, so there's no hook hole. Oh, let's get that peel going right now. So on the back of the unit, there's two like wall mount. So you just put a couple screws in the wall, or even one, and just hang it on. So that's good. I was kind of hoping that maybe there would be more something like a hook or a protruding mount hole that you could hook like a bungee on or something, but that's not the case. Yeah, I can see why this is IP66 rated. Like, it's definitely not like super sealed or anything. But with that, the cable is quite thick. Yeah, that feels really sturdy. All the weight comes from the cable. This unit right there is very light. The amp selector button is a touch sensitive button. Like, it's not one you actually physically push in, so you just kind of just tap it. So we'll see how well that works when I go back to my garage and I plug it in and test it for the first time. There's just some basic Velcros. Yeah, simple. And now this is the next big part, the plug that plugs in. And there's a few things you want to look for in a J1772 charge plug. And I'll show you if it has it or not. Okay, I'm just gonna ruin this bubble wrap. I'm sorry. Okay. So, a few nice things with this. This top here isn't too tall. I've actually found some cars, if this is too big, it won't plug in. I think it was on my Chevy Volt, it had a really large top. And the Nissan Leaf that I had, 2012, the way the charge port door opened, it actually wouldn't clear past it. So this one seems like it's quite good profile. It's nice. Now, also, see, I'm not sure if you can see it, see through that, but there's a hole in this release button. And that's really nice to have, actually, because what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to put like a luggage lock through here if you want to make sure no one unplugs you. But also if you want to make sure no one just steals the whole unit. So if you're charged outside in a public area, you know, if this isn't locked and if your car doesn't have like a charging lock built in, someone could technically just go unplug from the wall or unplug from the car and just take it. But if you have a tiny lock there, not to say that that lock can't be easily defeated, but it's more of a deterrent. So that's really nice to see. I will say though that it looks like it's pretty, yeah, like it's pretty thin plastic, so defeating it would be fairly straightforward, but still I would say way better than a one that doesn't have it. And this does have an integrated cover, which the manual so graciously talked about. And actually, that's nice. So it's connected to this little grommet that's at the bottom of the charger, and that's not going to go anywhere. So many chargers that I have that have had this little cover, it's just like tiny suctioned on and it always falls off, and it's really kind of a nightmare to get it back in. So actually, you know, I'm impressed by this. This is nice. It actually, they thought about it well. It has like kind of an ergonomic grip down here. I'm not sure how important that is, but it feels good, and it's not too bulky. I think this would work for pretty much every EV out there. So yeah, overall, actually, I would say I'm pretty impressed. My biggest concerns, once again, would be more like water resistance, especially for where I live in like British Columbia, where it rains a lot. But with that in mind, I do just have a level 1 charger like this in my garage that I charge this car on mostly, and my Chevy Bolt I charge on my level 2, which is parked outside. So, okay, well, I think that's a pretty good overview. Oh, one more thing. The back of it, which I just noticed, also has the LED status, which is really nice. So the box covered it, and it's nice to have this here, so you can kind of know what's going on. So yeah, good job there. So let's go to my garage, just plug it in. Let's just quickly check out the function, and I'll do my closing thoughts. Welcome to my garage. So I've plugged the charger in, and I discovered something interesting about it. So I'm going to switch over to the other camera here. But you'll see on the display, hopefully, that right now it's running at 6 amps, showing 119 volts and 0.00 kilowatt, just because I haven't really plugged the car in yet. But I did happen to drop this on the ground, and unfortunately, not sure if you could see it or not, but the plastic did scuff immediately on the display. It's nothing too terrible or anything. But the touch button, I was able to get it to work like immediately, but then I couldn't. So like you should be able to just see I'm pushing it, nothing's happening. So I have discovered, and the manual should really talk about this, because I think this is pretty important, but you have to hold the A button down, and then you'll see it highlights, and then you could cycle through. Now, because we are only on like a 120 15 amp circuit breaker, it is only giving us the 6, 8, 10, and 12 amp. But yeah, once you choose what you want, you just leave it, and it will go into a kind of a lock mode now. And now hitting this won't move it. Once again, you have to hold it down, and then you can cycle through. So it's just something that was a little bit unexpected. I think some people might think that maybe it's broken, but yeah, it's not. It's clearly just programmed to be that way. So a couple other things, just having plugged it in, the little charger, like this big adapter cable, it's just kind of big and in the way. It's not super flexible, but it is colder out. Like, it's about 8 degrees Celsius right now, so it'll probably be more flexible in like warmer climate. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it at 12 amps. And what we're going to do now, we're going to plug it in, see what happens. So this would be the maximum that this little unit can do. See my summer wheels over there. I love these things. But yes, so I'm going to open it up. Let's see. And let's see what happens. Oh, forgot to remove the cover. Difficult with one hand, but not impossible. All right, so let's check our status. Okay, that's looking healthy. Now, I really messed this up because, sorry, this is gonna be weird. My microphone got in the way. And let's go see what we got over here. Okay, so I just wanna see. Sorry, I had to move it a bit here, but showing 1.24 kilowatt, which is good. The little timer hasn't started. Okay, well, I'm gonna just, it might only count, definitely not count. Okay, yeah, it went up. So for the kilowatt hour delivered, it displayed, and I'm guessing it counts in minutes. So let's just kind of take a break and come back in a little bit, see what it shows. All right, some time has passed and we're back in the garage. And now I want to apologize to EVDANCE. I went to look back at the manual, and it does say for adjusting the amperage, you do have to long press. But it looks like the way it reads is you have to long press every time. So just know that you have to just long press until you see like the number get highlighted, then you can quick press between them. But quickly looking at the charger itself, so we have been plugged in for 18 minutes. We've got 0.37 kilowatt hour, still showing 12 amp, still updating regularly with the voltage and the kilowatt delivered. So I actually think this display is awesome to have. It really kind of sets it above the other products on the market. But what I want to do, I'm going to unplug the car, and I want to see if the display stays on for a bit at least, so you can see how much energy you consumed. So let's go over here. And I'm gonna unplug. Another nice thing, so compared to the EV charger I have normally, so this is the EVDANCE one. This one I have is called Bouge RV. I've had this for 3.5 years. When I bought my used Chevy Bolt, it didn't come with one, so I've just been using this. This one, when plugged into the Mach-E, is actually really sticky. I didn't notice that on the Bolt, but on the Mach-E, it's super sticky. This one just glides in and out, so I actually do prefer this. So going back now. Okay, so unfortunately, when I unplugged it, it did reset the timer and the kilowatt hour. So if you do want to use this to monitor your electric consumption, just make sure you record and look at it before you unplug. All right, so what do I think about the EVDANCE level 2 portable electric vehicle charger? Well, unfortunately, I can't test like the 16 amp function of it, but on the regular like wall 15 amp wall North America, so doing 6, 8, 10, and 12, I just put it up to 12. It worked really well, and honestly, I'm gonna switch to this as my regular one that I'm using, just because I do really like the display. It's very interesting, I find, to see how much energy you actually put into your car and the time that it took. And this can be really important as well if you are wanting to like compensate somebody maybe for how much energy you used. But overall, I'd say that the quality is excellent. Like the only thing that I would be concerned about once again is the waterproofing. I'm gonna have mine installed in my exterior garage, and so there's no concern whatsoever. IP66 perfect, keep all the dust out. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So thank you to EVDANCE for giving me this product. And after having just used it here, I think this is definitely something worth considering. So if you're in the market for a level 1 or a very kind of slower level 2 EV charger that uses that particular outlet, then I think this is a really good option. So thanks for watching. If you have any questions, just post them up. I will reply. And yeah, look for new content in the future. Thanks all.